Hello again YouTube, and welcome to another video for our South Carolina living series. Today is Christmas 2019, and today we're going to be sharing with you and with our family one of our family traditions. For our Christmas meal, we make homemade lasagna. I understand that may be a tradition with a lot of people, but it's one that we've been doing since we were little kids, and even since our mother passed away, we've been carrying on the tradition, and we make it. And of course, everybody makes it with a little bit different items in there. And I'm going to go over our recipe and kind of go through it a little bit step by step, and bounce around a little bit and show you what we do. Of course, the first thing you're going to need Christmas morning, you're going to need your coffee. Alright, got that. We're good. Next, you're going to need your list. Alright, so what I've done here is I've actually printed out a list. It's got the shopping list, it's got the directions, without my thumb in the way, and then it's got the layering procedures for it. Now, I always have this out in front of me when I'm making it, so that I don't get mixed up on the layering, because there's a lot of different layers to what we make. And the reason being is we don't use a regular pan, we use this. This is a restaurant size, it's almost like a chafing dish pan. That's the size pan that we use, and we've been using these for years. So it's a huge pan actually. The measurements I believe are like a 21 by 13 by, I think it's 4 inches deep. And we will fill this, as you'll see at the end, to the top, and will be extremely heavy but extremely tasty. So I want to go through what we use. First of all, you can use your own spaghetti sauce if you want to. You just need this rough amount to fill that particular pan. These are 67 ounce, which is kind of an odd number, but 4 pounds 3 ounces. I use 3 jars, the large jars of Prego. We use 18 eggs, 12 of them hard-boiled, and 6 of them not hard-boiled. I know that there's more than 12 in the pan. I can count that too. My wife wanted more hard-boiled eggs than what we needed for this recipe for something else. 2 boxes of lasagna noodles. And no, we are not going to pre-cook these, and these are not oven-ready ones. That's not how we do it. We need 3 containers of ricotta cheese. So we got 1, 2, and then 2 little ones. That's what they had. That's what we got. Of course, you're going to need some cheese. The recipe says 2 large bags. These are 2-pound bags here, but that just wasn't good enough, so I went and got me a 5-pound bag, just so I could make sure that I had enough mozzarella. You're also going to need 1 large jar of Parmesan cheese. We call it Frigo, and I actually have 2 of them because we're going to be making garlic bread, and we also need to be able to have, sprinkle some on top for seasoning. You need 3 pounds of Italian sausage. I like the hot Italian sausage. 3 pounds of regular ground beef. At least 3 medium onions. I've got a couple here, plus 1 that we had left over that I'm going to be using, and then some miscellaneous spices. We're going to be using these, plus maybe a few other little secret ones. We'll see along the way. But that's where we're at right now, and what we're going to be starting with is we're going to be browning and crumbling up. We're going to take these all out of the links, just cut them open and crumble them up, brown it all up, and then drain all the grease out of it, out of all the sausage, and put that aside in its own bowl. Then we're going to be browning the 3 pounds of ground beef. We're going to be dicing up the onions, and you can add bell peppers and mushrooms and stuff if you like that in your particular sauce. That's fine. The sauce I got actually is mushroom flavored, so and it has pieces of mushroom in it, so that'll be good for that. But we're going to be dicing this up. I dice mine up pretty small. I don't like big chunks in mine. If you like big chunks, great, do that with yours. I'm going to dice this up and put it in with the ground beef as it's cooking, and then I'll be adding the sauce to that, the multitude of spices that we're going to be putting in there, and then that will make our sauce layer. So let me get that going, and then I'll come back to you after that. Like I said, we've already got these, the eggs are already hard boiled here, so I don't have to worry about that, but I do have to worry about peeling them, and that's something I'm not going to sit there and show you either. But we're going to do the meat and the sauce and get those going first, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, we've got the sausage in here. You see we got it crumbled up. If it's not steaming up here from cooking. Got it crumbled up, small pieces. I keep crumbling it up more and more and more. You don't want to let it burn. You don't even have to cook it all the way through, but I want to get most of this juice out, as you can see in the bottom there, and I'm going to be actually stirring that out. The same with the ground beef. You can see there's a lot of liquid that forms in here, but I wanted to have a little bit of liquid to start to cook the onions down a little bit, and then I will drain that down as well, and then put it back into the pans, and then add the spaghetti sauce to that mix. This is not going in there. This is actually a complete separate layer in the lasagna, so that stays separate. Okay, added the 3 jars of sauce and added all the cool spices. Got our garlic in there. We got our oregano in there. We got our salt and our pepper in there. The smell-o-vision is something that's absolutely needed. I love the smell of garlic cooking. Also remember, always rinse out your jars with a little bit of water and then pour them through so you can get all the good stuff that's stuck to the sides in the jars. Don't want to waste any of the good sauce. So we got this going here. We've already drained our ground sausage, and it's going to cool down a little bit while we're getting this prepped up here. Just want to get this starting to percolate a little bit. Once this gets percolating, then I can move on to the next step. Okay, the next step is we put all 3 canisters, or in our case the 2 large ones and the 2 medium-sized ones, in a bowl. Crack the 6 eggs in there. Get your garlic powder, and you're roughly going to want 1.5 teaspoons. Sorry, gotta do better on the camera work. Yeah, that looks about right. Of that. And then we want to put in our 1.5 tablespoons of parsley flakes. Looks about right. And just because, I'm going to put in a little bit of oregano. It's also green, and you won't be able to tell, but it adds a really nice flavor to it. And what you're going to do is you're going to mix all this up in there. Some people add in some of the Parmesan cheese or Frigo into this mix as well. I actually sprinkle this on top of the layer when I put it in, so I don't add it on here or mix it in with it. It's totally optional to you. Alright, on to the next step. Okay, we got our ricotta cheese all mixed up in here with the eggs and the spices, and it is ready for its layer. The next thing we got to do is the hard-boiled eggs. I've already peeled them. My wife cooked them up, boiled them up with special stuff in the water to make them peel really easy. And the next thing to do is we're going to fork them. I know there's some crazy people out there that say, no, you shouldn't do that. You should use a spoon. But no, I use a fork. Or you can use a potato masher, whichever it is. But you're just going to mash it up into crumbles, and so it can make its own layer. Or if you choose to, you can actually just take them and slice them, and then lay the slices when it gets to that particular level. I like to do the crumbles. It just goes in better because it's on top of a cheese layer, so it sits better. But to each their own. So I'm going to finish forking these, and then we will get on to the actual building of it, layering it into the pan. Alright, we made it to that step. Okay, it's time to build the layers. So we got our wonderful sauce here. Put a few big old scoopies in here. All the prep stuff is the hard stuff, takes the longest. This doesn't take as long. Just build in the layers however you want with whatever you decide to put in there. Alright, that is the first layer. You put down sauce in there. And then you're going to get your noodles uncooked, hard right out of the box. This is roughly 1/2 of one box. About 8 or 9 pieces that we're going to run across in here. I like to just put them in. You can overlap them if you want. We got some extra pieces that were in there from broken ones, so you can get in there and fit as much as you want. Add broken pieces, however you want to do it. That's that layer there. Then next will be a ricotta cheese layer. It's easiest just to start with some dollops and then smear it around. Don't want to lose any of the good stuff. And you want to get this in there. I try to do about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick ricotta layer. Doesn't have to be super thick. I mean, I have plenty of ricotta cheese mixed up here in case I need it. You want to go all the way out to the edges of the pan, corners, everything. Cover as much as you can. And cover the noodles. Cover the noodles. Try not to get any of the pasta zipping up through there. I like to work in a workspace that's big enough to work in. Alright, so get this all in there. Looking good. A couple spots I think maybe a little thin, need a little more cheese in there. A little more cheese in there. Alright, next layer on top of this will be the sausage layer. And that is our wonderful hot sausage that we made earlier. And you're going to want to crumble it in there nicely. A nice good meat layer going in here. Starting to look like lasagna. And yes, I'm going to use all 3 pounds on this layer right here because it's just that good. Alright, another good layer done. Constantly clean your hands when you use your hands for cooking. Alright, next layer is we're actually going to sprinkle a little bit of Frigo on here. I know it seems silly, but it just makes it better somehow. And then more sauce. More sauce. This is the second fifth, because there will be 5 different selections of this sauce. Again, you want to get it out to the edges, because on top of this sauce layer will be more noodles. So since they're not pre-cooked noodles, the sauce and the moisture in the sauce, this was actually going to help to steam and cook the noodles, providing I can keep it in the pan here and not all over the counter. Yeah, that's going to look good. Now this sauce layer doesn't have to be super thick either, because there is, like I said, there's meat in the sauce and there's meat on the layer below it here. Just want to get some in there, try and make it level for when we push down the noodles. Voila, sauce layer. Next we need the next noodle layer, which will go right on top. And again, I already pre-counted these in little stacks of 8, because I know that's what fits in the pan. And then I just kind of shift them, and I use some of the broken pieces from the box. If I have to break them smaller, just throw them in there. Doesn't matter how pretty they are, it's going to be covered up. But yeah, you can throw those in there at any time, any point. Voila, make it pretty that way. Then after this layer of noodles, then you're going to have another sauce layer. And again, it does not have to be super thick, because it's just got to cover the noodles to cook them. And since there's sauce underneath, it's going to all bubble up through here, and it's going to cook these really nice. That's that layer there. Next layer, the ricotta cheese layer. One of my favorites. Need to open the bag up. And we're gonna put this on there kind of sparingly and kind of not. You want it to, the ricotta cheese, or the mozzarella cheese, layer is a good binding one. Holds everything together from the middle, because we still got a couple layers to go after this. So we're going to want everything to start melting right here. The amount of cheese you want to use is probably up to you. Like I said, we buy a big bag because we know we're going to use it on this layer as well as on the top of it. It has more cheese. And you can see that's a very friendly amount of mozzarella cheese on that layer there. And then the next one is going to be more noodles. We're going to put noodles right on top of this. And don't worry, we're going to be putting sauce coming up in here too. We got the sauce, the mozzarella. And we're going to have some more noodlies going in here. Now these one layer here is going to be a little different, because we're going to be putting the ricotta cheese right on top of this layer. So I am going to try and get it the best I can. You can even stagger these pieces if you want. Doesn't much matter. Make sure they push in there nice and solid, flat. Good job. Then we're back to ricotta cheese level. Number 2. Remember, you don't have to use all the ingredients up. You just have to get them in here in the levels that it is. Try not to make a mess. I'm only trying to make it like 1/4 inch thick or so, because I still have, again, I still have a couple layers more to go. So let's get this spread out in here. My noodle's trying to escape there. Let me get it over here and paste it into that corner. Voila, another layer done. Now after this ricotta layer here, we are going to be doing the egg layer that I've already pre-forked it all, so it's all good and crumbly. And we'll just put it on there as a nice layer in there. Again, you just have to sprinkle it on kind of like the sausage layer, as thick as you want or as thin as you want. If you don't want to put it all on there, you don't have to. If you do the slices, you don't have to even overlap the slices, just put them in there. It adds a unique texture to it. And put all these in here because I don't want to have any left over. We're going to have some leftover cheese, ricotta cheese stuff, but we can actually make something else with that, so that's fine. And yes, when you're cooking Italian food, you not only talk with your hands, you cook with your hands. That's another one done. Rinsing again. Alright, now we got the egg layer down. I'm going to sprinkle a little more Frigo on this, just like we did on the sausage layer. A little bit of Frigo in there. I'm also going to do a little bit of Mr. Oregano on this layer here too. Ooh, love the smell of oregano in the morning. You know, and we'll do a little bit of garlic. Why? Because it's garlic, and garlic's good for your heart. Alright, so now those layers are done. Now we just have the sauce layer, the final noodle layer, and then the final sauce layer, and then topping it off with cheese. And that is that simple, people. So let's get some sauce going in here. Remember, it doesn't have to be super thick, but you do want to get it to the outer edges so that it seals in and gets all the noodles on the edges. Otherwise the noodles on the edges will be dry. I just hate dry noodles. I don't know about you guys, but I like my noodles to be fully cooked by the time the lasagna's done. Alright, it's looking really good. Looking really good. That is really starting to smell good too. Okay, that is that layer. Now we're going to our last noodly layer here. And for the last noodle layer, we're going to put on all the noodles and noodle pieces we have left, which is not a whole bunch, but I got some broken pieces, I got some whole pieces, I got whatever I got to put them in here. Overlapping them, underlapping them, putting them in, holes, filling in, whatever it takes. There we go. That is that layer there. One more layer of sauce. That's a meatball. Don't want that in there. That goes for me. Oh yeah. Again, want to make sure that the edges are covered on all the noodles. Being that they're not oven cooked or pre-boiled. This is the way we do it. A lot of people like to boil the noodles, and that's fine. It doesn't hurt it. For me, it's just an extra step of cooking something that you don't really need to, because it's going to cook in here. I don't find any difference in the oven baked noodle, pasta, or the regular ones, so I just use the regular ones, and it works really well for me. Voila, sauce. Now I always have extra sauce left in the pan, because sometimes when you're eating it later, because you'll have leftovers, you can always add the sauce to it. Lastly, more cheese. Now this layer here of cheese does not have to be as thick. Some people do it there's two different ways to do this. You can put a thin coat on and then cover it and cook it, and then right before it gets done, you know, for the last 15-20 minutes, you can take the foil off and put the rest of the cheese on, and then brown it and get it all nice and brown and bubbly at that point. Since I'm not going to be cooking this one here at my house this year, we're going to be taking it over to my brother's house to cook it. I'm just going to have it all ready to go and have all the cheese on there, and I'll sit there with it and watch it as it percolates. It's going to be beautiful either way here. I'm trying to use all the cheese, but it's filling up pretty quick in here. And as many of you know, lasagna pans, when you cook lasagna, it will try to boil up and boil up and over the pan edge. So put something in the bottom of your oven when you're cooking this, so any of the juices that try and crawl out the pan to escape, that you can catch them in there. Ooh, this is looking good. Try to cover everything that's red, but every time you do that, you find another spot that's not covered, and or that you can kind of see it through. So that will be it. I don't want to mess with it over than that. So a little more Frigo on top of this, and then voila. That is it. We're going to cover it loosely. We'll kind of tint it over with aluminum foil so that the cheese doesn't stick to the aluminum foil. And we're going to cook it for, what we cook it for is 90 minutes. And then for the last 15 minutes, we'll take the aluminum foil off. And like I said, we let it get brown and bubbly. Then you take it out, and then we got to let it sit for 15-20 minutes out. This is a really large pan. Even a little bit longer wouldn't hurt it, which will probably be fine because we have, we're going to be doing this for family, and they may not show up on time anyway, so it can sit a little bit longer. We're also going to be making garlic bread to go with this, and a little bit of salad Some of the family members will bring over some desserts, and yeah, we're going to enjoy the Christmas holiday with family. So we hope that you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys will try it. I will try to figure out how to post the actual recipe that I made up, our family recipe, online. Maybe I'll post it below this. If not, I will post it here slowly so you guys can kind of see it and read through it. And you can see I went through all the layers and everything just as I showed it to you here. And I like this particular method because if we do have to go shopping, I just actually cut off this part here and I just take this to the store with me and I buy exactly what I need. I've been doing this so long now, I actually have it kind of memorized, so I just know what I need. I can look in the cupboard, see what I have, and then we can go and get it. But if you don't, yeah, it's pretty simple. Cut it off, take it with you, and you're set. You can also do different options. You can add mushrooms, you can add olives, you can do all that other stuff. I don't personally like olives and mushrooms, so I don't normally add those to my sauces. But there's people in my family that like that. That's why I use the mushroom sauce this time, to try and make them a little happier. But I won't do olives because I just, yeah, they're a vile vegetable. So yeah, hopefully you like. Please share, subscribe, comment. You know, if you try it and you didn't try it in, you know, this scope of a size pan, try it in a smaller pan. You can always shift these amounts down to fit your particular pan. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Talk to you later.